armed and powered to defeat Triplanetary's entire navy. We shall take that ship, and shall add its slight resources to our own. And it may even be that they have picked up the 3 who escaped me. I have never yet been balked for long. Yes, we shall take that vessel, and those 3 sooner or later. Bradley I care nothing about, but Costigan handled me, and the woman. Diamond-hard eyes glared balefully at the urge of thoughts to a clean and normal mind unthinkable. "To your posts," he ordered. "The robots will continue to function under their automatic controls during the short time it will require to abate this nuisance." "One moment," a strange voice roared from the speakers. "Consider yourselves under arrest, by order of the Triplanetary Council. Surrender and you shall receive impartial hearing. Fight us and you shall never come to trial. From what we have learned of Roger, we do not expect him to surrender, but if any of you other men wish to avoid immediate death, leave your vessel at once. We will come back for you later." "Any of you wishing to leave this vessel have my full permission to do so," Roger announced, disdaining any reply to the challenge of the Boise. "Any such, however, will not be allowed inside the planetoid area after the rest of us return from wiping out that patrol. We attack in 1 minute." "Would not one do better by stopping on?" Baxter, in the quarters of the American, was in doubt as to the most profitable course to pursue. "I should leave immediately if I thought that ship could win. But I do not fancy that it can, do you?" "That ship? One Triplanetary ship against us?" Penrose laughed raucously. "Do as you please. I'd go in a minute if I thought that there was any chance of us losing, but there isn't, so I'm staying. I know which side my bread's buttered on. Those cops are bluffing, that's all. Not bluffing exactly, either, because they'll go through with it as long as they last. Foolish, but it's a way they have. They'll die trying every time instead of running away, even when they know they're licked before they start. They don't use good judgment." "None of you are leaving? Very well. You each know what to do," came Roger's emotionless voice. The stipulated minute having elapsed, he advanced a lever and the outlaw cruiser slid quietly into the air. Toward the poised Boise, Roger steered. Within range, he flung out a weapon new learned and supposedly irresistible to any ferrous thing or creature, the red converter field of the Nevians, for Roger's analytical detectors had stood him in good stead during those frightful minutes, and in the course of which the planetoid had borne the brunt of Nerado's superhuman attack. In such good stead that from the records of those ingenious instruments he and his scientists had been able to reconstruct not only the generators of the attacking forces, but also the screens employed by the amphibians in the neutralization of similar beams. With a vastly inferior armament, the smallest of Roger's vessels had defeated the most powerful battleships of Triplanetary. What had he to fear in such a heavy craft as the one he now was driving, one so superlatively armed and powered? Well it was for his peace of mind that he had no inkling that the harmless-looking sphere he was so blithely attacking was in reality the much-discussed, half-mythical super-ship of Triplanetary's Secret Service, nor that its already unprecedented armament had been reinforced, thanks to that hated Costigan, with Roger's own every worthwhile idea, as well as with every weapon and defense known to that arch-Nevian, Nerado. Unknowing and contemptuous, Roger launched his converter field, and instantly found himself fighting for his very life, for from Roudebush at the controls down, the men of the Secret Service countered with wave after wave and with salvo after salvo of vibratory and material destruction. No thought of mercy for the men of the pirate ship could enter their minds. The outlaws had each been given a chance to surrender, and each had refused it. Refusing, they knew, as the Triplanetarians knew and as all modern readers know, meant that they were staking their lives upon victory. For with modern armaments it is seldom indeed that a single man lives through the defeat in battle of a war vessel of space. Roger launched his field of red opacity, but it did not even reach Boise's screens. All space seemed to explode into violet splendor as Rodebush neutralized it, drove it back with his obliterating zone of force. But even that all-devouring zone could not touch Roger's peculiarly efficient screen. The outlaw vessel stood out, unharmed. Ultraviolet, infrared, pure heat, infrasound, solid beams of high-tension, high-frequency current, in whose paths the most stubborn metals would be volatilized instantly. All iron-driven, every deadly and torturing vibration known was hurled against that screen. But it, too, was iron-driven, and it held. Even the awful force of the macro beam was dissipated by it, reflected, hurled away on all sides in coruscating torrents of blinding, dazzling energy. Cooper, Adlington, Spencer, and Dutton hurled against it their bombs and torpedoes, and still it held. But Roger's fiercest blasts and heaviest projectiles were equally impotent against the force shields of the supership. The Adept, having no liking for a battle upon anything like equal terms, sought safety in flight, only to be brought to a crashing, stunning halt by a massive tractor beam. That must be that six-phase polycyclic screen that Conway reported on. Cleveland frowned in thought. I've been doing a lot of work on that, and I think I've calculated an opener for it, Fred, but I'll have to have number 10 projector and the whole output of number 10 power room. Can you let me play with that much juice for a while? All right, Blake, tune her up to 55,000. There, hold it. Now, you other fellows, listen. I'm going to try to drill a hole through that screen with a hollow, quasi-solid beam, like a diamond drill cutting out a core. You won't be able to shove anything into the hole from outside the beam, so you'll have to steer your cans out through the central orifice of number 10 projector. That'll be cold, since I'm going to use only the edge. I don't know how long I'll be able to hold the hole open, though, so shoot them along as fast as you can. Ready? Here goes. He pressed a series of contacts. Far below, in number 10 converter room, massive switches drove home, and the enormous mass of the vessel quivered under the terrific reaction of the newly calculated semi-material beam of energy that was hurled out, backed by the mightiest of all the mighty converters and generators of Triplanetary's super dreadnought. That beam, a pipe-like hollow cylinder of intolerable energy, flashed out, and there was a rending, tearing crash as it struck Roger's hitherto impenetrable wall. Struck and clung, grinding, boring in, while from the raging inferno that marked the circle of contact of cylinder and shield, the pirate's screen radiated scintillating torrents of crackling, streaming sparks, lightning-like in length and in intensity. Deeper and deeper the gigantic drill was driven. It was through, pierced Roger's polycyclic screen, exposed the bare metal of Roger's walls, and now, concentrated upon one point, flamed out in seemingly redoubled fury Triplanetary's raging rays. In vain. For even as they could not penetrate the screen, neither could they penetrate the wall of Cleveland's drill, but rebounded from it in the cascaded brilliance of thwarted lightning. "Oh, what a dumbbell I am!" groaned Cleveland. Why didn't I have somebody rig up a secondary XX7 beam on 10's inner rings? Hop to it, will you, Blake, so that we'll have it in case they are able to stop the cans? But the pirates could not stop all of Triplanetary's projectiles, now hurrying along inside the pipe as fast as they could be driven. In fact, for a few minutes desperate Roger, knowing that he faced his long life's gravest crisis, paid no attention to them at all, nor to any of his own useless offensive weapons. He struggled only and madly to break away from the savage grip of the Boise's tractor rod. Futile. He could neither cut nor stretch that inexorably anchoring beam. Then he devoted his every resource to the closing of that unbelievable breach in his shield, the barrier which through all previous emergencies had kept death at bay. Equally futile. His most desperate efforts resulted only in more frenzied displays of incandescence along the curved surface of contact of that penetrant cylinder. And through that terrific conduit came speeding package after package of destruction, bombs,